Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the troublesome reign of King John, and we get to hear from the bastard today in Act 1, Scene 6. And this monologue is the entirety of Act 1, Scene 6. So hooray, 13 lines, and we move on to the next scene. So the things that are happening, we are back on the brink of war again, because there was supposed to be a marriage between Louis the Dauphin and Blanche of Spain, who is the niece to King John, so it was bringing England and France together. But then Cardinal Pandolf showed up and said to John, like, why aren't you recognizing basically the Pope's authority, the Church's authority? We've named this new Archbishop of Canterbury. Why aren't you recognizing him? And John is like, because I can do whatever I want, because there's God and then there's me, so I'm not listening to some silly Italian priest. So John was excommunicated, and Cardinal Pandolf said that everybody should go to war against John, and he preemptively pardons anybody who kills John. And John looked to King Philip of France because of the marriage that just happened to be like, hey, do you have my back? And Philip's like, no, I'm siding with the Pope. So now we're back on the brink of war again. And poor Blanche is sort of stuck in the middle because she's married to a Frenchman, but she's the niece of an Englishman. So she doesn't know what side she's supposed to be on. And at this wedding, the bastard decided that he was going to use this moment to bring up once again his grudge against Limoges, who is the Duke of Austria, because Limoges is the one that killed King Richard the Lionheart, who is the bastard's actual father. The bastard is a bastard because he's an illegitimate child of the king, but he's leaning very heavily into the fact that he is the offspring of the king. He used to have dreams about it and visions about it, and he knew that he was something more than a falcon bridge, all of these sorts of things. So when Queen Eleanor sort of adopts him into the family and they rename him Richard Plantagenet, he leans very heavily into this I need revenge for my dad thing. So at the top of Act 1, Scene 6, Limoges had run away from the wedding because he thought it was ridiculous that the bastard was just named a duke so that he could challenge him to a fight. But the bastard has now decided to go and pursue him. He was stopped from pursuing him during the wedding because there was supposed to be a wedding happening. But now that they're going back to war, the bastard is pursuing Limoges again. So the stage direction at the beginning just says that they fight and the bastard kills Limoges. It's like one sentence, boom, Limoges is dead. And then the bastard says, "Thus hath King Richard's son performed his vows, and offered Austria's blood for sacrifice unto his father's ever-living soul. Brave Coeur de Lion, now my heart doth say, I have deserved, though not to be thy heir, yet as I am, thy base-begotten son, a name as pleasing to thy Philip's heart as to be called the Duke of Normandy. Lie there, a prey to every ravening fowl. And as my father triumphed in thy spoils, and trod thine ensigns underneath his feet, so do I tread upon thy cursed self, and leave thy body to the fowls for food." So this is just more insight into the bastard. He starts out celebrating. He's like, hooray, I got my revenge like I said I was going to. I got my revenge for my dad, and so now I can proudly say that I am my dad's son, even though I'm not his heir because I'm illegitimate, but at least I am my dad's son and the Duke of Normandy, so I'm proud about that. And then he switches his focus to Limoges' body. There's a stage direction that says, "To Austria's corpse on which he treads." So the last 5 lines of this monologue, he's literally walking on Limoges' corpse, walking or stomping or kicking or defacing in some way or another. And he's like, just let the birds come and eat you, you stupid, worthless thing. That's all that you're good for anymore is for the birds to come and eat you, you horrible, horrible man. And that's the end of the scene. So a little bit of a dark side from the bastard that we hadn't quite seen to that extent. We knew that he was angry, but to physically tread on the corpse of somebody that you just killed that's particularly malicious, I think. But anyway, since we just finished a scene, there isn't an equivalent to this in Shakespeare's version. This scene, this little moment between the bastard and the Mojis does not exist in Shakespeare's version. So just some insight here into the bastard from whoever it was that wrote this version. They thought that this was an important story to tell. And anyway, moving on, tomorrow we'll start in on Act 1, Scene 7. We'll have to do a little bit of catch-up because the next monologue isn't for a couple of scenes. But we'll do a little bit of catch-up and figure out what's going to happen with this whole new budding war and John's excommunication and all of that fun stuff. So still plenty to go. I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.